Hello, hello. Welcome to Leap Taken. I'm Mika. Here at Leap Taken, I talk all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. And welcome to my witchy review. I got a couple things I want to go over today. I'm very excited to talk about one of the, well, actually, everything, because there's meaning behind everything. But yeah, hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Um, Visuals, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to assume everything's okay, and I'm just going to keep going. So let's get into, oh, I'm cold. Let's get into a couple things that I didn't tell you about, but I'm going to show you anyway. If you follow me over at Magical Lifestyle of a Cottage Witch, I will be coming up with a video soon. Hey, Dylan, where I'm going to be talking about like witchy planning and all that sort of stuff. But in the meantime, I just want to show you because I just got it. So this is my new planner cover for, this has become more than a goals planner. This is kind of like Franken plan with these different tabs. But anyway, I just think this cover is so cute. It's so me. It's so pretty and it's pink and it's gorgeous and it's what I like. So this is the inside. So this is from the Daily Grind. So this is like one of my other planner covers. This is like part 2 of what I'm using until I get my second copy of this. I have enough where I need multiple planners, multiple covers. But anyway, yeah, I have this set up for my goals planner. I have this set up with my book. Like I created basically like a meal tracker for myself. And then there's something called a glow up challenge. I'm doing that. And then I recently purchased their budget tracking challenge, so I'm doing that. Then there's some other stuff that I'm working on. It is cute, right? So this will be going into the winter, and I like it because it's definitely Christmas per se, but it's winter. And the tabs have something to say about Christmas in here. But I got this. They just released it. She sells out. I don't know if any of this stuff is available. I did not link anything, but I'm just letting you guys know if you're interested. This is one of the better goals planners that I've ever used. I've been using it for a couple years now, and it actually works. I like to use it in combination with my own personal planner. When I mean personal, I created the planner. I use my planner. I mean, technically, it could be following up with goals, but it's actually more, I use mine like just a daily to do and anything that I have to work on that's separate from goals or possible overlap. Appointments, all that sort of stuff, birthdays. I use my planner for that. The Cottage Witch Planner. That's what I'm referring to. And if you're interested, you can purchase it at leaptaken.com, by the way. But on to the books. So we're going to talk about this book and we're going to talk about this book. Very interesting thing. So this one, Tarot Every Which Way, Unlock the Power of the Cards for Spellcraft and Magic. So like a month ago, I had this book. I purchased this book. It was in a haul. And I said I would give a detailed review. Well, here we go. So let's talk about who wrote the book and just some details. Lilith Dorsey. This is Lilith. This is the author of the book. Who, by the way, actually commented on one of my, on the haul, the witchy haul that I did, the book haul. She commented on that. So I was like, really like, oh my God, she knows me. She likes me. Anyway, so I really hope she gets to see this one because I said I would read it and I would talk about it. I had to wait until now because I had all these books planned for October and this one didn't necessarily make it, hadn't made it in time. But anyway, so who is Lilith Dorsey? Um, it says MA has focused their practice on Celtic, Afro Caribbean, and Indigenous American spirituality. They are filmmaker of the experimental documentary Bodies of Water, choreographer slash performer for jazz legend Dr. John's Night Tripper Voodoo show. They have authored Voodoo, an African tradition religion, 55 Ways to Connect to Goddess, the African American Ritual Cookbook, Love Magic, the best-selling Orisha's Goddesses and Voodoo Queens, and award-winning Water Magic, which, yeah, visit them at lilithdorsey.com. So there you go. So that's who wrote the book. So you have an idea. She gives a little bit more about herself in this book. But I'm going to just read the back so you can get an idea. Immerse yourself in the magic of tarot as Lilith Dorsey introduces you to the many ways it can complement your witchcraft. So, one of the biggest things and takeaways from this book is this is not about um, just helping you study tarot. This book is really about also as a witch using tarot as a witch. So that's a kind of a strong takeaway here. Okay, she says, taking you beyond card meanings, this book offers recipes, which it does. Some of them were pretty good. Meditations, spells, crafts, spreads, and more, with hundreds of tips and activities this extensive guide is full of inspiration for every magical practitioner. Explore important symbolisms with two art samples for each card. So that was interesting too, seeing that. One from the Classic Tarot Original 1909 and the other from one of several Rider Waite Smith style decks. Discover ways to combine tarot and magic with an extensive array of correspondences, and it is extensive, including crystals, herbs, animals, astrology, and musical notes. Lilith also provides step-by-step instructions for making altars, shrines, and explains the difference, and crystal grids to help empower your deck and your life. Drawing from decades of experience as a diviner, anthropologist, and priestess, Lilith provides a myriad of ways to weave card energies into your magic. So, includes words of wisdom from Courtney Alexander, Bernadette Montana, Dorothy Morrison, Matt Oren, Deborah Lip, and Andrea Vitamus. And I hope I said that right. So, couple things, because I did highlight some things, couple notes, or some, what I kind of wanted to talk about. All right, so it's separated. Each card is a chapter. Anthropologist. I like when someone has a little, little something extra. Anyway, for instance, my major in college was, I changed it. Okay, first I went in with the idea of computer science, and I got pretty far into that, and then my whole life changed. My life changed. I'll just say that. And I wanted to pursue being an English major instead. So I switched to that. By the way, that comes out, all of this, the very technical mind, what I like to call my rational way of thinking comes out. And then when I write rituals, because I'm High Priestess of a Coven, that comes out as well. So it's interesting how these things can work out, your majors or things that you just study, because you don't have to have necessarily a major or the degree itself, but did you study that type thing? Anyway, moving on. So let's get into the book. So the foreword was written by Silver Raven Wolf. If you're interested, I won't go too much into that. Her introduction, she breaks down how the book is set up, and that's what I'm going to kind of let you know. So the first chapter of the book is titled Into, Around, and Deep Down into Tarot. This is where the book will examine the history of what some have called a wicked deck of cards, the origins of tarot in Italy, which a lot of us heard, and how it evolved into the complex system now known today. In modern times, people have begun to associate tarot with both psychological and mythological processes. This helps users utilize it to explore either internal or external phenomena. Both are possible with tarot cards. I so agree. Then there's the process of becoming a witch, which allows you to own your own power and the keys to success. You can 100% use tarot to help you along with this journey, and this book will guide you towards ways to do that successfully. I like that she said that. I highlighted that for a reason, because she's making a point. This is not just how do I interpret this card type book. It goes deeper than that. She's giving you a lot more information, so I do appreciate that. The second chapter is an in-depth investigation of the first card of the major arcana, the Fool, so we get right into it. She goes on into that, and then she'll tell you here. Incense blend suggestions are here to please our air-focused witches, while green witches can ground their concept of the tarot through the growth of corresponding herbs and formulas. The Fool is numbered 0, which places it before any of the traditional trump cards. It makes a glorious place to start our study of our system, of this system. So I love the way she writes. I'm going to tell you that right now. All right, so she goes into that chapter 3, magician, and so forth, and she gives sort of like a mini breakdown for each one of these. Um, the Where did I want to talk about next? Oh yeah, after you go through the major, then she introduces the minor arcana. That will be like chapter 24, deals with wands and all their fiery energetic glory. Then she goes on to talk about the suit of cups, the suit of swords, and then we get into the suit of coins or pentacles. Now, you think, okay, she gives you all this information, and there's a lot. There is a lot there. I'm not gonna. It's a good amount of information in this book, but after that, in the last third of the book, we move away from card descriptions and we look at putting the cards into actions. So, chapter 28 talks about your own cards and their unique relationship to you. Chapter 29 is covering reading basics, being a card reader. Mastering the basics is necessary before attempting to further your knowledge of any discipline, right? Chapter 30 highlights tarot altars and shrines. I love that section, by the way. It's not very long, but I like what she did. Um, and then she says the powerful universe of tarot, crystals, herbs, and gardens is explored in chapter 31. A very unique approach, by the way. Then she says there are probably as many tarot spreads as there are tarot readings. I agree. So this is why all of chapter 32 deals with the subject of tarot spreads. So if you're interested and you need some help with that, she has that there, excuse me. I love when people have an expansive section on each card because keywords and or one or two paragraphs, right, might not click with some people, especially us with mental illnesses and such. And I totally agree with that. Like I can't really. I know when I was learning, I created a keyword. I found something on Pinterest and I created like a keyword correspondence type list with a spreadsheet. I sometimes like to do that with a new deck. I don't do that with every single deck I have, but I'll create my own. So basically, I look at their book and what they come with and kind of, because, I think every tarot card kind of comes with a certain vibe. For instance, I've been working with this card. This is the Cozy Witch Tarot deck. And it definitely has its own energy, its own vibe. I love the imagery on these cards, by the way. And it just makes sense to me. So I'm like trying to find something that like stands out. Like this is the moon card. Okay. So looking at this, I mean, what do you see? And before we even get into the book, because she talks about this, but this is something this is what I taught myself and kind of what I've picked up over the years as well. So that's why it's important when you pick a deck that it makes sense to you. Now, of course, you can go with I think the pip type cards or whatever, where it doesn't really have a lot of illustration, so you kind of just know the meaning, and that's cool too. But like when you see this, what comes to mind? Knowing, even if you know what the moon card represents, generally speaking, like what do you see when you look at this? And that's something that you kind of want to think about. And it even has verbiage: taking time for deep self-reflection is essential. Okay, so that's one of the interpretations of this card. Sometimes, especially early on, or honestly, I feel like sometimes spirit is telling me like let stuff go. If I want a deeper meaning or I want more clarification on something, I'll keep pulling cards and I'll just keep pulling them and pulling and pulling them. And then I'll get this card and that's my signal to like, girl, what are we doing? You ain't gonna know. Things are just gonna have to unfold. You're just gonna have to ride it out. It interprets to me mysteries, the unknown. Also, sometimes very directly, like this might just be a cycle during this moon phase. So then I start to think about what phase am I in now? Prime example, if I was to pull this card right now, and depending on my question, depending on the cards around it, and depending on how long I've been pulling cards, it might signal to me, hey, we're in a full moon phase. You know, uh, this is something that, is maybe occurring. Maybe it will be revealed very soon because we're in this full moon phase. So I take all those things into account when I see the moon card. And I have a lot of experience working with the moon card because this card would frustrate the bejeebus out of me early on when I was getting into tarot. I love my copy of the Lillifer Tarot, the artist depiction of the High Priestess and the Hierophant. Click for me. It was enlightening for sure. Sometimes you get a deck of cards and it really does just click. For me, it was Everyday Witch Tarot, which is yeah, it's over. In fact, that was always one of my favorites. Cozy Witch is one. I love the Afro Goddess Arcana Tarot deck that I recently purchased. Like those imagery, I know it all just clicks. I love those decks. So I actually have some new decks coming. I think those are Oracle though, that I literally just placed an order for, and we'll be talking about those once I get those. But anyway, yeah, so she makes that point on, kind of having an understanding. You can have a general idea, but then look at your cards and to build a relationship with them, really get to know them. So again, the book is titled "To Tarot for Every Witch Way." So she, in my haul, when I got the book, I talked a little bit about this section, but I want to go more into details. She says, "Which witch is which?" So many witches, so many glorious manifestations of magic. It doesn't take too much to be a witch, just a belief in yourself and the focus around you. Every witchy specialty will allow us to truly maximize our talents as practitioners while crafting our way through this world. Some of these classifications are traditional, while others are newly crafted. In preparation for this work, I spent weeks seeing the different ways witches identify themselves both online and at events in person. There's a wide variety here, showing that some define themselves by the type of witchcraft and others by how one actually practices. Feel free to align with whatever you choose. You can be all of these witches or none of them. You can be half of one and 100% of another, or it can change daily or with the seasons and situations you find yourself in. Ultimately, the point is to make magic. Magic that makes things better. Here are a few of the types of witches you can choose to identify with. Discover what you need and leave the rest. So I'm going to go over it, but I want to point out something, and I'm tapping into something else, but hear me out. Ultimately, the point is to make magic. Make magic. There has been a conversation that has been ongoing on, are you still a witch if you don't practice magic? And I've been personally asked this question over the years in comments, and someone has actually asked, well, it's been a while. I mean, I guess I still call myself a witch. I haven't actually cast any spells or did any magic in a very long time. And I would say, well, if you identify, you are what you identify. So I'm not going to tell you what you're not. And, who am I? Who is anybody to tell you that you're not still a witch or something like that? But what I will tell you is this. If you are if you've been identifying yourself as any sort of traditional type of witch for some time now, if in anything under that umbrella, so I call myself a cottage witch, for instance. So that's low key under the umbrella, a little bit of maybe traditional witch, right? My question is, what does witchcraft mean to you? If you're not casting spells, participating in intentional rituals, in making magic, because some people cast spells and make magic through song, through art, um, through writing. I like writing, so I one of the things I have to remember is that's been one of my first loves of witchcraft, creating worlds. This taps into manifestation as well. But anyway, creating worlds, creating characters, creating archetypes, and creating um, spiritual systems all within a work of fiction, or creating grimoires. Basically, I love paper, writing, that sort of thing. Um, People who paint, they create magic. It was here and now it's on the canvas. Uh, like I said, people sing, whether you write your own, lyrics or not. Um, I think even people like, especially beauty. Oh my God, glamour witches, witches, glam witches, witches who do glamour magic, beauty witches, or people in that arena, priestesses of Aphrodite, or in my case, Hathor. Um, I, they exhibit their magic through their art, that is makeup and that is like, design, whether it's their home, everything. It's all very illusionary, and they man, I mean, manipulate, not in a negative sense, but manipulate your energy, and how, when you see them, you have a certain response, but it's all on purpose. That's the magic, but they do all of that. They don't necessarily do it to manipulate others, they do it for themselves. um, so what is witchcraft to you? What are you living it, and not in a way where you're always lighting a candle? I live my magic in a way where I don't always have to say a charm and light a candle or burn some herbs, and that's the only way that I do witchcraft. My witchcraft is, like I said, as I live it. I'm sharing that with you guys, whether it's reading these books, talking about them, journaling about them, pulling tarot cards, doing other types of divinations, dream work, ancestral reverence. These are not explicitly witch, but I'm telling you what it means to me. Um, Definitely anything in the kitchen magic realm, because I work with that. But that's me as a cottage witch, is really all encompassing. Um, the colors that I select for my house, I'm in a process of doing interior decorating in my home in certain spaces, plus put up Christmas/Yule um, decor. And all of that represents my spirituality. And I consider my witchcraft my spirituality. So I am casting, I am ritualizing. This is something I do every year. So it is a ritual. See? And yes, sometimes I'm still, lighting candles and doing, I guess, what typically looks like witchcraft, and making potions and things like that. But I'm just letting you know before you say, well, I'm not really doing anything. You sure about that? Maybe you really are. I have 3 decks coming sometime soon. One was pre-ordered indie, 2 were Kickstarter, 2 tarot, 1 oracle. Yeah, I haven't gotten on board with that yet, but I will. I let I know I let somebody I know very closely mess with Kickstarter. It took over a year for them to get there. Over a year for them to get the product. It was beautiful once they got it, but that kind of left a sour taste for me. I'm still on the fence about that. But Etsy, I'm all in. Okay, so let's get into the types of witches. I just wanted to talk about that, just like, you know, art witches, which is kind of, I was alluding to that. An art witch is just, and I'm just highlighting, there's more to it, but I'm just gonna give the highlights. An art witch is just what it sounds like, a witch who uses art or focuses on art in their practice. Um, and then she talked about like their sub classifications, such as stitch witch and crafty witch. So you have, a stitch witch prefers sewing and fabric as their primary medium. A crafty witch will use all different types of media to express and craft their magic. People identifying as an art witch are in luck when it comes to tarot, because first and foremost, tarot is an artistic medium, and she goes into detail about that, which I kind of agree with, right? I mean, who does it? I'm literally holding up, look at the art. I'm attracted to the art. These orders were like 4+ months ago. Aries and patience. Yeah, that's what it is. Like I don't have it in me. I don't want to. I don't want to try. Anyway, there is a section. She lists beginner witches, and she even says, I wasn't sure if I should include beginner witches on this list, because it's a stage rather than a type of witch. And which I agree, but she left that on here anyway, just in case, and to explain. In regard to tarot, it will help to start with the basics, choosing a simple deck as a starting point, learning it inside and out, and then expanding from there. I totally agree with that. Fine. And by the way, let's get into that conversation. If you're looking for a good deck, a card deck, and you thought you had the one and it's just not working, okay, go get another one. You don't I would say if the second one doesn't fit and the third one doesn't fit, then maybe it is you. Maybe not you because something wrong with you because you're picking the wrong deck. What are you looking at to choose a deck? She actually gives instructions, some helpful tips on that. You practice art magic, awesome. So maybe you need help. Maybe you need. So I checked out her guidelines because I'm always looking for on the market, not all the time, but I'm open to getting a new card deck occasionally. Y'all know that because I share it with you here. All right, so let's get into the next thing. All right, so then she talks about chaos witches or magicians. This type of witchcraft is more focused on fluidity and embracing the unexpected. And there's some quotes in a lot more detail here. Not a lot, but this is a paragraph worth of detail. When applying chaos magic to tarot, remember nothing is accidental. Pay special attention to synchronicities and references to tarot, however they appear. My soul deck changed over time. It's okay to change. We always change. Exactly. It's get another deck if you need to. Everyday Witch Tarot, I realize it's to me, it's not like a hard stop. I'm waning away from that. And for instance, I'm intentionally using the Cozy Witch and the Tarot Afro Goddess Arcana Tarot deck as well. These three decks are supposed to run for the next 2 months. Oh my gosh, I don't have the patience, but good. So you're talking next year. I don't want to wait that long. Literally on Amazon, when you order stuff and it'll say, oh, you'll get discounts or extra points or something if wait 2 more days or something like that. And I'm like, no, I want it as soon as I can get it. I don't want the point. I don't care. Give it to me now. I don't want to wait. I want it the next day. I paid for Amazon Prime. I want it within the days that you said. Nothing more, nothing less. That's a little bit of my impatience coming through. Cosmic witches. This type of witch relies heavily on astrology and planetary influences. There's more detail, but I'm just highlights. This book will help this type of witch explore the ways their unique practice resonates with the astrological correspondences of the tarot cards. Makes sense. Then she talks about cottage witches. Me. This type of witch and their magic are focused on the home, which is similar to a hearth witch. Yes, very much. I could easily take on that title, but I prefer cottage witch. And then she goes on, there's more detail, but she says, for these witches, their home or cottage is the space where they feel the most power. And they can use tarot to help amplify that in every way. It may mean adding tarot art to your home, choosing plants that represent your favorite or most challenging tarot cards, or even setting up tarot shrines in your temple space. So there you go. My first soul deck was Prisma Visions, and now it's the watercolor edition of the Mythical Creatures Tarot and the Purgatorum Hex Oracle. I'm not sure how to say that. Modern day. Now definitely does not help with us Aries now. Exactly. In our impatience. So that's the cottage witch there. So you see what we're doing here? The book is about tarot, using it within your witchcraft. So she's helping to identify, not that you have to identify. You could just say witch, or you could say practitioner. You say, I don't know. I don't like saying any of these things. I just do the things. Girl, find one of these things and relate to it. You know what it is. Or man. Anyway, coven focused witches. See? Coven witches prefer the connection and power that can be gained, through the strength of a coven, which is the opposite of a solitary witch, right? So they may benefit themselves and their coven as a whole by bringing their tarot knowledge and practices to rituals and events. As someone who runs a coven, it is interesting working with these different witches who interpret differently. Some are still kind of, they're not really big on necessarily tarot per se, meaning like they're not professional readers, so they have, they know some things but not everything, but they're really good with other divination tactic methods, like using oracle decks or stuff like that. The V's in is Old English for use. Okay, thank you. That's why I was like purgatorium, yeah. And then there's crystal witches. Crystal witches turn first to crystals and stones when they need to do their magic. They said there's some overlap here with maybe earth witches. Crystal witches may gain a greater understanding of the meaning of tarot cards by exploring their crystal correspondences and associations and approaching the matter that way. Then elemental witches. So there are four types of elemental witches corresponding to each of the elements: earth, air, fire, and water. So if we're talking earth witches, again, similar to green witches, we'll find strength in nature and plants. Earth witches may feel particularly fond of cards like the Empress, which features a verdant garden, or the Suit of Pentacles, which is said to represent the element of earth as a whole. Then air witches are said to thrive on intellect and knowledge. They may feel a connection to the Suit of Swords in the Minor Arcana, which is known to represent air. Fire witches burn with passion and energy. I believe I got a little bit of that. Witches may feel a particular, these witches may feel a particular spark from the cards that are associated with the sun or fire in general, like the Suit of Wands. Water witches utilize and honor the magical energy of water in the form of seawater, ocean water, pond water, spring water, and more. They may feel particularly drawn to cards like the Moon or the Suit of Cups that are associated with water. Eclectic witches, which is what I used to refer to myself as. Eclectic witches make up their practice from a wide range of sources. They may also wish to pick and choose from the many different ways to explore tarot cards in his book. So she left that up for interpretation. Question: are you the type of witch that believes in 4 elements or 5 elements? Oh, you mean the spirit? I'm open to, depending on the context of what we're referring to, I'm open to it. But when I'm casting a circle, I use the elements. I don't do like archangels and all that sort of stuff. I use the elements and the directions associated corresponding to that. So I'm only caring about 4. But if we're having a larger conversation or working on something else and you're talking spirit as well, yeah, I'm with you on that too. Like, it just depends on the context. Then she talks about fairy witches. So also called fae witches, these practitioners center their practice on the fae folk. Certain herbs, crystals, or techniques detailed in this book may help you honor the fae while also learning more about the use of tarot. So she's drawing a connection, giving you a description, and telling you how this book is going to help you if you're this type of witch or you identify in the realm of this. Green witches. Green witches could be witches who have a general love of gardening or have a special niche that they are drawn to, such as goth plants, medicinal herbs, native plants, and so on. She believes, I believe she says she's a green witch. She said, I certainly identify at heart as a green witch. That's what she says, the author. All right. She doesn't go too much on as far as the tarot. I guess, it relates to finding the corresponding plant or herb that goes with a certain tarot card. Healing witches. So healing witches focus their magic on healing. Tarot and other divination methods can often be utilized to find out where and how healing efforts should be focused. Great idea. I mostly go with 4. Spirits to me is a little redundant. I hear you. Like I said, it depends on the context. Hedge witches. So hedge witches are seen as belonging to this liminal or special in-between area, a space where magic happens and anything is possible. In many ways, this is similar to a folk witch, whose beliefs are also centered on herbs, animals, and family or folk-honored traditions. Every one of these can be supplemented with individual cards or readings about your practices. Hereditary witches. A hereditary witch is one whose focus is on inherited magic from their ancestral line. Again, she's giving more detail. I'm just giving you a highlight. Many of these witches have been taught the use of tarot cards and other divination methods from their elders. They may use techniques in this book to expand upon the ancestral knowledge they have been given. Kitchen witches. Kitchen witches find their strength in the power of food and cooking. Throughout this book, they'll find so many different foods and recipes corresponding to tarot cards, and she's right, she does a great job with that. Solitary witches. So to be a solitary witch means that you prefer to practice magic on your own, without the aid of coven or a larger group. There is power that comes with solitude, and mastering that is a powerful skill to possess. We see this particularly highlighted in a hermit card in the major arcana. So she's saying maybe focus on that energy there, right? And then finally, traditional witches. So this type of witch may feel more comfortable with traditional decks like the Rider-Waite-Smith or the Thoth Tarot, and using traditional spreads like the Celtic Cross. I feel like she kind of made it seem like it just seems so boring with traditional witches, but I feel what she's saying. She says this list is by no means complete. There are house witches, tech witches, sex witches, ceremonial witches, and lots more. So she's just gave, she can only go for so much. So this is the first part of the book. And then we get into chapter 2. So that was all chapter 1, introductory, all the introduction, all of that, explaining the types of witches, explaining kind of how she got to writing this book, how she always wanted to. And then we get into the individual cards. So I think one of the things that we can do, I'm not going to go over every single one, but since I was holding up the moon card and we're looking at this deck, I want to take you to that section. And I'm going to just go over that for you. So that's chapter 20, the moon. So she gives you some illustration. Boy, do I wish it was in color, but beggars can't be choosy. So I want to go over this. So this is a card from the Cozy Witch Tarot that I'm telling you. This is the card. So she's saying, as the cards progress through this epic hero's journey, the next card is the moon. It gives us external guidance from the forces that be. The moon means so many things to so many different people, and this tarot card references every single one of them. All right, so here's what is in this section. So she's going to give a lot more actual verbiage about it. Astrologically, the moon is seen to be the representative of deep emotions and hidden forces. You should read a bit from the Emperor since he's the Aries card. The card I choose to illustrate this entry is from the Santa Morte Tarot by Fabio Lestrani. And that's these cards. So if you were curious, if you like these, she's telling you where she got them, like what decks they're from. So it's like, this is what she's talking about. And I'm going to kind of skip over that. She's just going into detail about it. To us here on Earth, the moon appears to go through phases, and each one interacts with us differently. People tend to blame their behavior on the moon, for it can indeed make us do mysterious things. It goes from waxing to waning and everything in between. Because of these transitions and transformations, this card represents timing. And I kind of alluded to that when I was like, this could mean timing as well in a reading. The moon card urges us to use that timing to our ultimate advantage. The moon card also speaks to faith. This is a faith born of the cosmos of things we can barely see, let alone touch. Hey, Debbie's Witchy vlog. Hi. I concur with that. Sometimes it's like, girl, you gonna have to go by faith, not by sight. I say that sometimes, by the way. Move by faith, not by sight. Like, if I pull this, I might not know. It might not be meant for me to deliberate and know some information. I may need to just go through whatever it is I need to go through and, just deal with it. But for me, honestly, that signals, depending on the other cards, well, maybe I need to cast a protective spell, or maybe I need to do some self-love work, depending on the other cards surrounding this, so I can kind of understand, okay, if I'm waiting for it to unfold, do I need to do something, to be in preparation for whatever is about to unfold? That type of energy. Oh, this lash is taking me out. Anyway, the moon is the dwelling place of the triple goddess. The maiden, the mother, and the crone responsible for bringing life into existence. These are spiritual beings that continue to guide us, even if we cannot see them in the light of day. So, all right. Now, meanings and correspondences. So she goes over all this detail. Then she tells you popular meanings for the moon include secrets, changes, hidden meaning, occult knowledge, and power. And then she gives a few more. So she starts off with crystal correspondences. Then you're going to get herbal correspondences. So just quickly, emerald, moonstone, you knew that, selenite, labradorite, blue kyanite, pearl, unakite. And then herbal correspondences: eucalyptus, hibiscus, hyssop, ginger, moonwort, lettuce, lily, lotus, rose, violet. Other correspondences: animals, the dog, jackal, crab, scorpion. Astrological: the moon, Cancer, Pisces. Musical note: B. So then she goes into magical and culinary recipes. She says enhancing your readings by making magical concoctions and feasts allows for a greater understanding of what the cards are trying to tell you. The foods most often connected to this card are mangoes, poppy seeds, and tangerines, some of which are featured in the recipes that follow. So then she gives you magical, full moon magic oil. She gives you a recipe for a full moon magic oil, which is so interesting because I created one and I didn't use any of these ingredients. I think I used rose, but I used something else in my concoction. Culinary. So mango muffins. There's a recipe here. These muffins are a delight to serve for holidays, Sabbaths, coven meetings, or whenever you want to enjoy them, whether the moon is full or not. So she gives that. I actually think I might want to try to make these. I'm liking the way this looks. Anyway, then journeying with the moon. On the night of the full moon, prepare a space on the floor in your bedroom or another space where you can carry out the meditation undisturbed. Take the moon card from one or more tarot decks to use in your meditation. Wash a circular space on the floor approximately 1 yard in circumference with the moon water from the spell on the next page. Take the tarot card and place it on the edge of this circle, and then sit in the center of the circle and get comfortable. It may be easier to record the following and play it back while you complete the journey work, or alternatively have a friend read it out to you. So she's gonna go over it, and this is what I'm saying. I wanted to delve into just one of these on a deeper level. So here, this is the sort of like meditation. So here we go. Say the following aloud: I gaze upon the moon and I look within. My journey is wondrous. I'm ready to begin. Once inside the circle, continue to repeat the above as you use the moon water to wash your hands, your feet, and the back of your neck. Next, close your eyes and imagine a thin silver cord connecting you to the moon. See it shine in the moonlight. See what appears on either side of it as you take this trip. Once the cord has reached the moon, know that you are connected and can travel back and forth on it safely and securely. In your mind's eye, imagine yourself traveling along this silver cord to the moon to find the answers you need. When you arrive at the moon, you will find a silver box containing the answers you need about your situation. Open the box. When you see what lies there, close the box and travel safely back down this silver cord to your safe moon circle space on your floor. Then she tells you, open your eyes, wash your hands, your feet, and the back of your neck again with the moon water and the recipe that follows. Pick up the tarot card and put it back on your deck with your deck. Your journey ritual meditation is now complete. So there you go. That was like a short one. There's some longer ones. But the moon card spell, the moon card is one of the few in the deck that features actual water. Mine does too. It's over in the corner. If in the corner. So this ritual takes a bit of time, but it will help you access the mystery and the magic that the moon has to offer. So listen to this. So the ingredients are 1 cup of spring water, a half a cup of rainwater, a half a cup of white rose petals, 6 drops of myrrh oil, 6 drops sandalwood oil in a large glass jar. So you're going to place all the ingredients in the glass jar, shake well to combine. On the night of the full moon, leave the jar outside or on a windowsill where the moon's rays will touch it, bless it. The following night, it will be ready to use. That's why she says it takes time. You got to wait for it to rain. If I'm fooling around messing with rainwater, I should have been already got it. I don't have it. Has it rained here? I don't know the last time it rained. It's been a minute. So that was the moon card, by the way, if you're interested. So I will look at the Emperor. I'll give some highlights real quick. Dylan, since you asked about that one. So this is chapter 6, and this is the Emperor. So I'm just going to give a quick highlight on this one. And she just says the Emperor is a ruler, a leader, and a commander who governs both people and places. He is the archetypal paternal figure, filled with wisdom and skill. Here is revealed the ideal patriarch, compassionate and fair, helpful and accomplished. So she goes into detail. The Emperor card shows us how to manage and organize chaos so it becomes order. Then she further goes on. This card is numbered 4, which represents stability and foundation. In a reading, this card can mean paternal figure in your life, providing important lessons and expert guidance. He gives wise counsel, which everyone would do well to listen to. Alternatively, this could be representative of yourself and the ways in which you mentor or guide others seeking your help. The Emperor is honest and truthful, yet also serious and kind. And I as a true Aries, I do embody these traits as well, especially as a mentor. I'm always truthful, and I'm always trying to be kind. I'm never. And I can say never. I never intend to. I don't want the reading, the words to be hurtful. And she even talks about being a reader in the last part of the book. How a professional card reader, how the intention is, because some people say, oh, well, I don't tell someone if they're pregnant, news about actual physical, death, or things like that. Those things that, as a lot of professional readers just don't tap into that. And also you have to be careful because of the legalities behind that. Like legal purposes, you really shouldn't be telling people that they're going to die, or someone they know they're going to die. Depending on the state you're in, that could be a problem. A lot of people don't realize that. But anyway, as a mentor, my goal is to be honest and truthful with my clients. If I feel, but also as an emperor and taking on what I guess some would call a quote that fire masculine energy, I am usually very direct. I'm very direct. And the problem for me is when I try not to be, and I'm trying to like be delicate where it comes out wrong sometimes. Like you can tell I'm fighting, I'm struggling to get the interpretation out. Usually when that happens to me, I mean, I'm human. I have these moments, especially in a professional setting. I just take a deep breath, and then I'm saying, I don't have to worry about, like, I'm just going to give you the message as best as I can. But I am not going to tell you that, if you ask me straight out, let's say someone has a diagnosis health wise and they're saying, am I going to die? Well, the short answer is, well, yes, but we all are. So, I mean, are you going to die soon? I'm more solutions based rather than focusing on a timeline of how long you have to live. I would be focusing on what you need to get done while you're living. I would not tell you that. I don't want to tell you that. Because I'm also a practicing witch. So I would believe, well, why can't can we maybe work on some healing or something like that to give you more time? I don't know. I would be looking at other avenues. Again, I'm solutions based, but that's how my brain thinks I'm solution based. But that goes back to going to school for computer science and then eventually going over to being an English major, is because I have that programmer type thinking. Okay, well, if I do this, if it's this, then that, else do this. And then, my brain, I'm always thinking like that, problem solving. Yeah. Anyway, meanings and correspondences. We're talking about the emperor. I went on a tangent there. Popular meanings for the emperor include power, protection, dominion, authority, achievement, ambition, and skill. Here are some correspondences relating to this card for your use. So then she goes into crystal, red jasper, ruby, fire, agate. Herbal correspondences are hemlock, pine, oak, geranium, ginger, calamus root. Other correspondences: animal, ram, goat. Astrological, Mars, Jupiter, Aries. And then musical note is C. She gives some um, magical and culinary recipes, power pack oil, maple bacon delight, culinary is it's hot nuts, and then another journeying with the emperor, and then there's going to be a spell, emperor power powder spell. It involves dried calamus root, ginger root, uh, vetiver oil, and bergamot. So there you go. So um, let me is so that's I mean there, of course she goes into the minor arcana and you can read about that. I want to talk about she does have a section about ethics. Death is definitely a tough topic in readings because I don't want the client to become fearful or paranoid. Most people do. Tower and death card freaks people out. um yeah, I mean it's not like I want to see the card if I'm doing a reading for myself. Especially death is just immediately change. Like that's the key word for me. That's where I think. And now I'm looking at what you asked, what's going on around, or what needs to be changed. There needs to be the death of something. We've all experienced the death of something on some level. Like we need to be wrap this up. Stop it. Type energy. This book is already on my wish list, but you have me at maple bacon. Yes, maple bacon. So a word about ethics. She says, I like the way she says this. My soul wishes I didn't have to include a bit about ethics. But people are people, so here we are. In some locations, it is prohibited by law to give someone a reading that gives some awful prediction, again, like death or disaster. Now, personally, I've never foretold that in a reading for anyone, not because I didn't see rough times ahead for any of them, but because my readings always focus on solutions and preparing for challenges ahead. This stood out to me because this is my thing as well. um, anyway, she says some readers I have spoken to refuse to predict pregnancies, understandably, as that can be complicated news to break to someone. Always evaluate what you think is ethical and best on a case by case basis. Sometimes, if you're reading for others, you may find that some clients are terrified of what the cards may hold. Because of this, I always recommend doing a special blessing for your cards when you first get them. Try something simple like lighting a small white candle and asking them to reveal anything that you or your clients can't handle at this time, or not to reveal anything that they can't handle. Share with your clients that they won't receive any information that is too much for them. I like that. This way, you can get the most productive reading for all the people involved. And she just goes on with that. So I like that. There's a section she talks about bless the cards again, additional tips and tricks like sleeping with your cards. We've all heard of that. Character interaction. Never forget the relationship between the individual cards is important. And she goes into that. Then the conversation about too many readings. Sometimes there are people they keep telling me I want to, and then what, and it's like, stop. I know you're not even focusing on what I just told you, let alone trying to interpret something else. This sounds like a good book. I think it is. I do. um and then she talked about musical inspirations. Think about what music, if any, helps you with your tarot readings. I've definitely worked music in with my tarot readings. There are several tarot themed songs online. Try them out. Musical witches may even wish to compose something of their own. Personally, I like to listen to the Holy Mountain soundtrack, which reminds me of Jodorowsky and the most amazing tarot film ever. I may not have said that correctly, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry to that. Even thinking about a reading as a piece of music may be helpful. She just goes on to that subject. Tarot Walk. This is, if you read the Ancestral Grimoire, which is an excellent book, by the way, as well. A very specific type thing. Here she's talking about us witches and working, being a witch working with this book. Ancestral Grimoire is working with your ancestors using tarot. And they talk about a tarot walk. So consider going on a tarot walk. It's a magical journey in the real world. This can be done in an urban or rural setting. You can do it close to or far from home. Begin by choosing a major arcana card. You can pick it by doing a blind draw or by choosing a specific card you wish to consciously focus on. So for me, you know how a lot of people, if you're like in a planner world, like, planners, your calendars. Anyway, we're big on doing the word of the year. And as we're ending this year and about to go into 2025, a lot of people are starting to think about what's your word of the year. I tried that. I can think of a word, but I'm going to forget after January. I forgot what the word, I'll forget. Anyway, the point is, I use a tarot instead. And what is my tarot for this cycle, this year? Um, so I had the Empress for most of 2024, the Empress. And I exude Empress energy. That's something I would take on that in different capacities. The archetype of the Empress, certain the what we call the keywords and things like that. The nurturer. So I would take on that as a persona, and also put it, infuse it in my magic. Even when I worked with my coven, when it was time for my individual spell work and I wanted to have the blessing of our collective coven, I would have it would have that Empress energy in it. I have to go clean. I hope you all have a great afternoon. Okay. Watch the rest later. Thank you for joining though. um but yeah, that was, and I of course will have a new one now going forward. So the other thing is, she tells you to trust your intuition. Very often in readings, my psychic knowledge or spidey senses will go off, prompting me to say something unusual. Same. When that happens, it is never like, I don't know that's gonna happen. I don't know when, but it's like I'll be looking and I have like my predetermined ideas of, oh, when these cards are together, what this means. But then I'll just get something pop in my head and I'm like, hold on. And I'll say whatever it is. It'll be like an image. For me, one of the things I'm finding with my psychic abilities is I'll see a thing, an item, a scene or something like that very briefly, and like a window. That was lately. I did this. I was doing some work with my coven, and one of the things that it was like time to sit. Okay, so what do you see? Sense, um, like a predictive type thing to come. It's just an exercise. One of the things like we like to do. Anyway, I saw a window. Now, what does that mean? A window. Uh, One of the things that I'm learning about myself is that can mean a literal window, and there's some aspect of it. Now, the crazy part is I just changed in my the common area of the house, because it's like an open floor plan, so like the living room slash dining area. I changed the window coverings, and I wasn't thinking about that, but I'm just letting you know I changed the window coverings prior to this exercise. And I plan on putting like some lights up, for the holidays and stuff like that. So I was like, it could literally be about that and how that may bring me. I just purchased the lights for it yesterday, so this is afterwards. So it could be about that, or it could be, metaphorically speaking, a window to opportunity. You know, like an open window, that's, or it could be about flow. It could be representing the element of air, but that's for me to figure out what that means. In this time, I set up a time frame to kind of see how this manifests, this image. But that's like, I mean, I strongly suggest you get into stuff like that. For you, it might be a word that you hear. I'm talking about psychic abilities now, being psychic. What does that mean? And giving yourself, which is the next key thing she said, is patience. Giving yourself the patience to figure this stuff out. What does this mean to you? Even with the cards, what do you sense these cards mean? And the reading as a whole. But she says here, many of the cards speak to patience. They urge the seeker to be patient and always search for solutions. I like that. The next section, she goes into tarot altars and shrines, and working with a tarot altar. There's a lot of detail about that. A tarot shrine, which she did. The difference between the altar and the shrine is the altar tends to be a temporary, and a shrine is something that is permanent structure. And then she goes into the type of witch you are, what type of tarot shrine. So I'm just going to read the cottage one. Cottage Witch Tarot Shrine. This type of witch centers their practice around the home. They might certainly want to set up a tarot shrine in their magical home. The shrine will gain extra benefits from its surroundings, and I would consider it almost a divine extension of your home itself. Perfect example for me, and she would be right describing me. I any shrine, for instance, this shelf is just looks, oh well, this is a shelf. It's nothing big deal. It's just holding her stuff. But where I have my to me where I have my tarot cards and the things I have around them, my wand and the energy and any of the work I do, I see all of that. I interpret that as a cottage witch. It's not just a shelf holding my decks. 7 years ago, I was on Discord with my then friend group of witches and Hellenic polytheists, and I saw a glimpse of one of their moms. I described what I saw, and the friend said that was wrong. Oh wow. Yeah, that's in that like. And here's the thing with that. I mean, for some people, they could pull it at will, but that takes a lot of practice to be able to do that. If that's not something you could easily do, but it's very interesting when that comes on, like all of a sudden, and you're like, wow. And then like other time, you're like, why can't this work for me? I want to see ahead. Okay, so then she, like I said, she breaks down the different shrines for all those witch types that I talked about earlier. And then using crystals with your cards. There are several ways to utilize crystals in connection to your cards. Place crystals in your tarot bag along with your cards to help energize and strengthen them. Set up a crystal grid on your tarot altar before you set up your spread, and make your own crystal-based tarot set from the major arcana crystals. You can keep them in a box or bag and pull them as needed. So she goes into that. I'm being very, very thorough with this book because I like it that much, and it was worth. It's so much information beyond just the description of the cards. So now we're talking about garden and herbs, and she's talking about. She goes over the most famous tarot garden is in Tuscany, Italy, which I don't think maybe I read that somewhere. I don't remember. It's a series of large mosaic sculptures depicting each of the 22 major arcana cards. I'd love to see this one day. A tarot garden for psychic awareness. So the most basic garden you may wish to create is one for psychic awareness. And she gives like herbs, bay, borage, chicory, dandelion, ginger, juniper, lavender, and it just goes on, poppy seeds, wisteria, thyme, and so forth. So that's a lot of information. And then tarot garden for love, and she tells you what you can, plant there. Individual tarot card garden. So you can choose to grow the plants associated with a particular card. If you're wondering which card or cards to choose, consider using the one that most often represents you. So, for instance, on my Empress journey, I could have planted the herbs or plants that are associated with that, and really delve more into that energy more, and use that in spells and rituals, or maybe even in some kitchen magic and things like that. Then a section on tarot questions and spreads. A tarot reading is only as good as the question. The clearer the reader is on these things, the easier it is to obtain answers and insights. And then she goes on to say, my best advice is to do some thorough soul searching to find out what it is you really want to know before you pick up the cards, and try to find solutions or information connected to the situation at hand. I agree. Do you know how difficult it is to attempt to so I'm not talking about for myself, but I'm going to use myself because I don't want to betray any clients. For myself, over the years, I knew I wanted to do something with my cards. I got these cards and I want to use them, and I'm like, well, what do I want to say? And in the past, I would just do, if I didn't have a question, I would just do past, present, future with no question, and just say, what are the energies in the past and the present and future that I need to be aware of, something like that. But ultimately, you should be asking a query, a question. The querent should be querying, the spirits, the cards, for some information. And I do think you should get very specific, but be open to interpretation with that. So there's a lot more to it. They go into the different spreads, and yeah. spiritual path spread, which is something I actually created my own version of this for my clients. But it's a 5 card spread for her. But she goes into that, and she said that I thought people were going to come get readings for all different reasons. The reality is more people have questions about either love or money. But we knew that, right? And that's when, as a tarot reader, it can get a little burnt out on that subject. But we went through dang near an hour of talking about this book and giving a lot of details. I think this is definitely something you should add to your witchy library. I like the angle of for the different witch types and just going deeper into tarot. I like when something goes a little bit deeper. So there's that. So let's talk about this book. Now, I went on and on about the other one because I'm going to spoiler. Okay, this is the one. What I love about this book, the cover. I love a book. I bought a book by its cover. Yes. Which book? How do you not freaking like this? I love this. This is so me. I have decks that I need to ask specific questions, but I have others. Thankfully, you seem to be okay with chat with me. What's up? Exactly. Some decks I use for communication purposes. Other ones, like, we need to get some answers. I got some questions and I need answers, please. So it's a journal, and it says the journal belongs to. So I'm going to tell you, it's got some good information in here. There's a couple of mistakes, like, you know, I don't know, it like misspellings type stuff. Not a lot. I did catch it though. But you know, it happens, right? Very plastic. So she does make a lot of references to the movie, by the way. Not a lot, but a few in her introduction, which is like approximately from page 2 to page 38. You're gonna have information. This is the part where she's going over like circle casting, protection, energy shielding, herb smudging, cleansing, sacred spaces, spiritual cleansing, the phases of the moon. So you're gonna get that informational type stuff. Then the rest of the book, all of this, all of the rest is called Moon Rituals and Journaling. And that is where she's going to take, you start with the new moon, the waxing moon, the full moon, and then the waning moon. Those are the 4 sections. She's going to give you some verbiage. You're going to get some print and then a couple areas, 4 or 5 pages, and the rest is going to be this. This is what primarily the book is. Basically, a place for you to journal to the prompts. So this is the part I didn't like so much. I knew it said journal. I didn't understand. It was mostly this. So I didn't love that. Because it's like just the same question. So for the new moon ritual, it's the same questions. New moon ritual. Yeah. So it's like, look at this. I'm going to let you look. So one side says new moon ritual, one side says moon ritual. What new beginning am I ready to welcome into my life? What area of my life feels ready for growth? What do I want to manifest by the next full moon? What qualities or traits do I want to develop in myself moving forward? Under this new moon, I am calling in space for you to write in. What am I most excited about starting during this new moon? And then when you go to the next page, it just says moon ritual. What blessings, big or small, are you grateful for in this moment? What is the purpose of your ritual? My intention, ritual tools, ritual plan, my affirmation. So it's like I guess this is to help you think it out, and then you prepare for the ritual here. And then there's the moon ritual reflection. So you get another set of questions to answer. Blank space for thoughts. And then here is visions. Draw any visions, symbols, or patterns that appeared to you during your ritual. So you have an opportunity in that space here to do that. So it just repeats itself. And then there's a page for journaling more on here. And then it starts over again. So again, I told you it was the new moon. And then it was the waxing moon. Trying to get to that section, sorry. This is the part, yeah, I just felt like, you get to the waxing moon section, she's giving you again the verbiage, and it goes on. It's not a bad book. If you would like to maybe, and that's it. There's nothing more in the back, like no additional things. That's it. And it just goes into full and so forth. If that's a low content book from KDP, I'm guessing. Exactly. But if you wanted something, one, I like the cover. Now, I know a witch who would take a book like this and like paper clips, staple, tape in their own pages just because they love the cover. I might be doing something like that with this book because realistically, I don't know if this is for me, but I love this cover a lot. Like, I like it a lot. So what I'm interested in possibly doing is converting this book to something else. And it's like a large, so I can put like 8.5 by 11 piece of paper in here and just cover it up and really just do my own thing with it. By the way, when you do stuff like that, you can just take, like, for me, I take like a box cutter, a very sharp box cutter, and take out extra pages if it gets too big and like for the spine. But I love this cover that much. It was worth it. Yes, I'm talking about ripping this book open just for, yeah, like tearing it apart just because I love the cover, because it's low con. Yeah, it's like I said, it's that verbiage in the beginning. I can make this into something else. So that's, I don't feel bad about it because I love it so much. The cover. And the information is pretty helpful. It's not like bad or anything, but like I said, this is like becomes the template for me to do something else with. But the last but not least thing I wanted to share, and thank you, I realize I've been talking for a long time, is the Ink Goddess box, Kitchen Witch. This is the November box. Kitchen Witch is the theme. And it says here, a pinch of moonlight, a dash of spice. A kitchen witch bakes treats that entice. Spells carefully woven into every bite. A witch's kitchen where magic and flavor unite. I like that. November's Ink Goddess Creations box contains tools to help witches add some magic to their baking and cooking. I can definitely see getting the spine cut off to spiral, buying the book to turn it into a new notebook. Exactly. Like, I can work with this. I don't need, I don't need all that. I'm like, I don't. You're like Katie breaking the crown. I am Damien who gasps. Oh gosh. So let me tell you, I like this box a lot. So I'm gonna go into the Kitchen Witch Herb Magic Cutting Board. Is the first thing in the box. So she gives us a cutting board, and obviously it's in plastic, but if you can make out, there's stuff on here. It's like there's herbal correspondences, so like for protection, abundance, healing, love. I can't even make out this word. Success. Oh, wisdom. I don't know, and other stuff. I can't see that through the plastic. And I don't want to take the plastic off yet until I'm ready to put it in the kitchen. So this is the cutting board. Nice. It's cute. This is cute in the kitchen. And then, oh, my nail just popped off in my hair. Oh, God. I want to go. I can never get these. Okay. I will either have perfect success with these press-on nails. And these are so cute. They have little bows on them, if you can see. And I love the way that paint looks. But the nail just popped off. What can I say? It was a perfect movie reference. Okay. All right, so we got the cutting board. And then we have the pentacle rolling pin. Obviously wrapped in plastic, as you know. But this is the pentacle rolling pin. Isn't this cute? I don't think that's the best idea. It's hard to read. It is. It is. And then Happiness Kitchen Witch Magical Culinary Blend. Oh, that's this. This is edible. So this contains sugar, cocoa powder, cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, allspice, and orange peel. So that's what that is. And then we have Cauldron Magnetic Conversion Chart, which I actually like. This can go in my kitchen, on the fridge. So it has here, yeah, it's a conversion chart for what you think, yeah. And then Fall Magic Sprinkle Blend, which is here. This is the blend. This is edible. And this includes, add some autumn vibes, she says, to your cookies and cakes with this cute sprinkle blend. It contains salted caramel candy pieces as well as fun fall shapes to enliven your baked goods this season. Okay, so if you could take, that's cute. Then we have a kitchen votive candle, a blend of cinnamon, clove, and honey to warm your kitchen and add magic to your cook. Oh, that smells nice. It's just cute. This is cute. And then you always get these cards in your box. This says Kitchen Witch 3 Eclective Witch Deck or Expansion Pack. 3. I only got 2. Am I skipping one? Two. Oh no, it says 2 cards. Oh, Kitchen Witch 3. Okay. 2 cards on cooking with uplifting intentions and kitchen magic to add to your deck. So you get this one, and then you get cooking, this one. And these are the back of the cards. What scent is that candle again? I smell cinnamon and clove, 100%. I smell cinnamon and clove mostly. It smells good. It smells like homey, like fall. This will be getting lit. So this is the box. This is everything that came. If you're interested, every item in this month's box is exclusive to Ink Goddess Creations. So I think they're a very, very fair priced Witchy subscription box. Out of the other ones, I canceled I think you can buy this individually, by the way, the candles. I'm pretty sure you can. If you go to their site, their prices are really reasonable. That's what I like about them as well. Witch's casket. I love the box. It was very high quality, but it was also getting expensive, and realistically, I'm just not using the product, the box, in time. This has been my problem in the past. So I'll start subscription boxes and I'll stop. One of my favorite ones was Apothecary at Home. I still love that subscription box. And it was helping me to understand, working with different herbs and learning a lot more details, kind of like a course. And it was like, I think at the time it was like $50 a month for this box. And you got these herbs and all this extra material that came with it. And it was definitely worth it. But it was just starting to pile up. I wasn't doing anything. Also, one of the problems that I came across is that certain herbs I couldn't even really work with because I was taking medication. And I mean, even let's just say you're taking birth control pills. There's certain things like St. John's wort that doesn't, if you didn't know, you have to be very careful with that. It can take you to a dark depressive state, potentially suicidal, consuming St. John's wort and you're on birth control pills, hormonally speaking. And then talking to my daughter, she said actually St. John's wort is one of those things you have to, it's like, especially when you're ingesting it, you have to be very mindful because it actually has issues and it conflicts with a lot of different medications. She's a nurse, so she was telling me about that. Now, there's other herbs that I have to be mindful for as well that say, oh, it's great for this, it's great for that. But if you're taking certain medications, it could be a problem. Or you have to be mindful if you have allergies as well. I found out through an actual allergy test that I have a serious ragweed allergy. And I had started using milk thistle. That's a herb that's great for detoxing the liver or just support of healthy liver function. And my levels that came back, the enzymes or whatever they call it, they came back kind of high. So I had already reduced things that would affect that, like alcohol. But I wanted to make sure I was going to be okay going forward. By the way, fatty liver disease is a real thing. You can get that. So I wanted to avoid that. So anyway, I started taking the milk thistle supplements. I did not read the fine print, and it said, something about there's ragweed. If you have an allergy or something, avoid this particular product. Well, I didn't know that until after I purchased it. I got it from like a major brand, and yeah, I got really. I was taking it. It's not like it wasn't a life or death, but I was like, every time I would take it, I was going through. My throat felt like it was closing up, so I started taking like allergy meds and all this other stuff, which was not help making me crazy, by the way, which also had another thing, more allergy medicine I was taking. It was increasing my blood pressure. So now it was having a domino effect. So just be careful with the herbs is my point. But anyway, I stopped my subscription box for that because I was having an issue where I just wasn't going to be able to do anything with these herbs, or I didn't have the time to do anything with the herbs. Before the next box came, and then the next one, and then the next thing, they were backing up, and I felt it just gave me anxiety. So this is right now the only box that I currently still work with, and I will continue to do this until, if the same thing happens. I don't want to waste my money and just be having stuff to talk about, and I never do anything with it. So I'd like to, I'm going to see how I do with this one, see where this goes, and maybe the next one. And I'm going to probably reevaluate for January. Witchy subscription boxes are essentially useless to me because I hardly ever use herbs. It depends. I mean, they don't all, some of them come with herbs, but the witch's casket definitely almost always came with some sort of herbal thing. But apothecary at home, that's the point. It's nothing but herbs. That is the box. That's the point of it. You wouldn't get that unless you wanted to do that. We mean you don't work with herbs. Why not? So anyway, those are the items. I'm looking around to make sure I didn't forget anything. Those are the items that I wanted to talk about for this witchy review. So just to sort of recap, we went over the Ain't Goddess Creations box, which I'm evaluating, this one, which love, don't love. It's like just what you say, the KDP low content. I didn't realize to that extent that how much, it didn't really have a lot of information in it, but I don't mind it because I love this cover so much, and I plan to do some other things with this. So it's not that bad. I would like to try out a small witch subscription where everything is sent in an envelope or smaller mailer. There is something where you could do that, maybe. There's something like that. And then the other book is Tarot Every Which Way, which I spent the bulk of my time talking about. And I would strongly recommend adding that to your witchy library. I know that's a big what, witches community, but I prefer crystals, art, water elements. I mean, that's fine. I was like, what do you mean? So you don't drink a cup of tea occasionally? You don't make a little healing potion with some tea and that type thing? But that's okay. Everybody doesn't have to. All right, so I'm going to end it here, and I am going to have some tea. I bought some gingerbread chai, so I'm gonna do that with like oat milk. I'm gonna have it warm. I don't want to over ice, and grab a little snack or something to eat. I'm gonna run some errands. I'm gonna finish putting up my Christmas / Yule. You used to like tea. Yule decor, finish setting that up, and I'm going to keep writing because that is also my magic. And lately, I got a nice wake-up call. That is your magic. That's also an expression of you as a witch. And I love witchcraft. I love being a witch. So I love working in that expression. So those are my activities for Friday. And I am going to get out of the house because I have a habit of not doing that. But I'm going to get out of the house too and go do some errands, but I'm going to make it fun. And I hope everybody else has a really good weekend. Yeah, just have a good weekend and do some magic. Enjoy your tea and the rest of your day. Thank you. You too. Enjoy your rest of your day. And I'm going to end it here. All right. Bye. Oh, like, subscribe, share, hit the join button to join, leave, take a membership, all that YouTube stuff. Check out my other YouTube channel. The links for the books are in the description if you're interested. And I do have an Amazon affiliate. So if you click on those links, it helps if you choose to buy. Small, very small, but it does help. All right. Bye.